I'm Fatima Balogun. I'm an HR professional, a career development professional. I love developing the youth in their job readiness skills to prepare them for the world of work. Now, we're starting with the first session, CV writing. And I remember that when we're putting out the call for this, what's it called now? The call for this program, I stated clearly that this was going to be a workshop. It's going to be hands-on. It's a workshop for a reason. So we're here to learn, and please be ready with your questions. And if you have any questions at any point, please just drop it in the comments and we'll take it up from there. All right. So what are we covering? I've introduced myself, mentioned Fatima, HR professional, career development professional. What are we talking about today? 3 major things: common mistakes made in CVs, essential sections a CV should have, and how to tailor your CV to different roles, or if you're trying to switch your career or change jobs. Right. Now, before we move on, please look and tell me in brief, what's a CV? What do you understand a CV to be? I'll check in the comments. You can just drop your comments. You can drop your answers in the comments. What's a CV? What do you understand a CV to be? Anybody, somebody. There's no right or wrong answer. I love to say that. There's no right or wrong answer. Idea is all we need. So just tell us, what do you understand a CV to be? Because we are here to talk about CV, and I'm not asking curriculum vitae, no. I'm saying, what's a CV? What's document? Visual picture of an individual. Lovely, visual picture of an individual. Okay, nice. It shows who an individual is, right? Pictorially. That's nice. Okay. Do we have any other person? Do we have any other person that wants to talk about visual pictures, about what a CV is? Okay, while we're waiting for, we can move on. But yes, Ayomide was right in his definition. Sandra says it's a document that shows your career path. Beautiful, accurate. It's a document that shows your career path, whether you are a career professional, whether you're an entrepreneur, whoever you are, whatever profession you have chosen to follow. It is a brief summary of one's experience. Thank you for contributing to that. Okay, now let's get right into it. What are the common mistakes made in CVs? If you've been following me on LinkedIn, I know I started a series on CV writing, common mistakes people make in CVs. And the very first thing I highlighted was formatting. Formatting. Now, what is formatting, you say? Formatting can be having the right spacing in different sections of your CV. Formatting could be having these different types of bullet points, or even bullet points or misaligned bullet points in your CV. Formatting could be using what's it called? One text, a different type of text here, a different type of text there, looking all disarrayed. So now the very first thing I want us to note that I've seen a lot of people make in in CV writing is poor formatting. Now people go into writing CVs because they and then for ignoring the formatting, because they feel, oh, I've done the major one, which is putting my work experience there, putting my education out there and my skills. But you've forgotten that recruiters have a very short period of time, limited time, to actually go through your CV. What they're doing is scanning. They scan your CV, they skim through your CV to know if you are right for this job. Now, if you do not format properly, they're unable to quickly skim. You're asking them to read through your CV, and they don't have time for that. So help yourself, help recruiters by ensuring you have a properly formatted document. We'll still go on into sharing a sample CV so you can see what formatting looks like. It's easy to read. Once you see a good formatted CV, you will appreciate the work the person has put into it. Now, choice of font style, text, or formatting color. Now, what do I mean by this? Font style could be now, I won't say they're acceptable font styles, but I would say they are commonly used font styles that, I'll still use the word acceptable, right, in the industry. Now, Arial, Calibri, sans serif, you can never fail with those. We're using outdated font styles, like, I don't want to say the word that comes to my mind. Using outdated font styles, like I said, or stylish font styles in cursive writing. Now, this can put you at a disadvantage because Remember, we're still going to talk about ATS. There's what we call the ATS, applicant tracking system. And once you feed your documents into these things, into the ATS, or once your document is being uploaded to an ATS and they don't understand what you are putting, it just changes it to Roman numerals or something for you, and it's unable to read the information you put there. So there are appropriate font styles to use for CVs. Calibri, Arial, sans serif, family of fonts, sans serif. You can never fail with those. Now, the text formatting color. We have people writing, just like I've written common mistakes made in CVs in blue. We have some people having blue headers, purple headers, because they just want to show that I know how to play around with colors. Or if, for instance, the person is a product designer or a graphics designer, your CV is not the place to start having colors on your CV. No. Just, you can never go wrong with black and white. I say it all the time. You can never go wrong with black and white. No need to color code anything. Just leave it as plain black and white, and you will never fail with that. Now, spelling mistakes and bad grammar. Spelling mistakes and bad grammar. Mistakes like instead of writing part, P-A-R-T, you write P-A-T-H. Now it's normal for us to say, but there's no one above mistake. We can all make mistakes, but a recruiter expects you to pay so much attention to detail that they want you to send in something perfect, not near perfect, perfect. So it means that if you do not have the skill, I tell people all the time, if you think you don't have the skill or you spend so much time editing your CV that you cannot pinpoint your errors, share it with a friend. Let the friend go through your CV for you, and they'll be able to pinpoint the things you missed. So spelling mistakes and bad grammars, one of the mistakes people made in CVs that we need to avoid. Inappropriate email addresses. Now, I know some of us created email addresses while they were in secondary school, right? And when we were in secondary school, we're not thinking about career then, we're just thinking of what's the funky thing we can use to, have on as our email address. So if you still have those funky emails as your corporate email address that you're using to apply for jobs, please do away with it. You can apply as that. When I was getting into a corporate space, I also realized that, I couldn't be using the email addresses I created in secondary school because it was not professional enough. What did I do? I created a new email address and I discarded that other one. The other one was for newsletter, signing up for training programs. And then I created an email address specifically for just job application. So there's nothing like, I missed a job advert. I cannot miss not job advert, I cannot miss an interview invite, nothing like that, because the email address is clean. It's just waiting for me. It's just waiting for me to send in, me to get the email invite, the interview invite, as the case may be. Now, irrelevant personal details. This one, I made another post on LinkedIn about it. Please, personal details like marital status, gender, location, state of origin, nationality. These things puts you at a disadvantage. Why? Because we have what we call unconscious bias in every space. Now, some recruiters don't even realize that they embody a bias. So that's why we now name it unconscious bias. So by the time you are including these details, I'm Fatima Balogun, I'm Muslim, I'm a female, I'm from this particular state. When I'm giving them these details that they do not naturally need to qualify me for the job, it can shoot me in the foot and do what? And they just decided, we don't want to work with this kind of person. We don't want to work with a female. Subconsciously, with the person, I don't want to work with a Muslim. Meanwhile, it was never part of the criteria. But the fact that I put it there already sets them a bias to say, maybe Muslims don't do this, maybe Muslims, and they don't want it. So better safe than sorry. Don't include all these personal details. Now, I'd like to also add a caveat that if you're in Nigeria and you're applying for government roles, federal government, state government, their format is different. They require a different standard. They want you to put all those personal details, your local government and all that. So please do that for government roles. But when it comes to when it concerns the private corporate space, please take out all personal details. Do not use your picture. As much as it's fine, I wanted to see who they are meeting before. Your picture can set them off the wrong way. They can see your picture and say, I don't like the way the person smiles. I don't like the way the person is looking. The person looks too serious. things that should not be put into account. But we're calling them unconscious because sometimes most people do not even realize they have this bias. But the minute they see your picture, you can put them off the wrong way, and then you're shortlisted out of the what's it called, of the shortlist, just because of something that was avoidable. So please do it with your pictures. Another caveat: if you are applying for a modeling role, it's a different case. So if you're applying for a modeling role and they request for your picture, please by all means add your picture to it. Okay. Now, another mistake people make in CVs is highlighting duties rather than achievements. What do I mean by highlighting duties rather than achievements? Quantifiable achievements. People highlight just their responsibilities, what they do on a regular basis at work. I do this, I do that. But that is not what people want. We don't want to hear that. What we actually want is your quantifiable achievements. And we'll talk a bit on quantifiable achievements as we move on, right? Use of first person. Yes, a lot of people make this mistake. They use I instead of writing in third person. And there are two types of third person, and I'll come to that. So in your CV, as much as it is your CV, right? We know you're writing about yourself. So it's very tempting to say, I do this. I dedicated my work to, I collaborated with a team. It is very easy to get carried with that. But it doesn't read well with on CVs with recruiters. So best thing is to just write in third person. Now there's third person reporting in Fatima using my name. So it's saying Fatima is a dedicated. That's one type of third person. That is not what we're talking about. So the third person where you are silent on your name, on your pronoun, is what I'm advising you use. So dedicated and hardworking. Even though I'm not so, that's a cliche word, I will come to that. But dedicated or HR professional, learning and development professional with over 8 years experience in developing youths and this and that. So I'm silent on my pronoun. They don't know if it's a she, if it's a he, if it's a Fatima, even though they've seen my name at the top of my CV. So third person, but no, do not use first person, please. Use of cliches, can-do attitude, team player, everybody. If you don't have a can-do attitude, ask yourself, would they want to hire you? If you're not a team player, would they want to hire you? So these are words that have been overused over time that you don't necessarily have to have on your CV because they know that you have the skill. Just come. If you don't have the basics, so it's just like a basic knowledge. It's just like saying that you don't know ABC and you want to graduate into secondary school. You cannot move. So if you do not have the can-do attitude, if you do not have the team player spirit, then you will not be considered for the role. So do not take up space unnecessarily by putting these words on your CV. Incorrect, false, or misleading information. Now, it's easy to say, oh, but nobody checks. Nobody does background check. Nobody does this and that. And I will surprise you that people do check. If they do not go through the formal background check, they can call a friend they have in that particular company or in the old company. So I've had cases of people liaising with maybe the head of the company or the HR, a key stakeholder in a particular company, saying, oh, I work in this company for this particular number of years. And then the recruiter, I'm calling up a friend, junior friend, not even deep your contact in the organization, right? Calling them up to ask about you, to say, oh, hi, do you know Sandra? She said she worked in this company with it. And they say, which Sandra? No, I don't know her. And then what happens? Immediately they know that you are a dishonest person. So please do away with adding incorrect, false, or misleading information that would shoot you in the foot later on. And we've had cases of people who, especially, for instance, I know I've heard of a story of an accountant. This is a real story of an accountant. This person falsified that they had passed the professional ICANN exams. They scaled through. This person had gotten to this person had gotten to at least a managerial level in their career. They had gotten at that then, let's assume 10, 15 years under the belt of experience under the belt, and they already have that professional examination. But at the point of entering into the organization, they lied about the qualification. What did they do? By the time they were doing the audits and they found out many years after the person had already backed that certification, they have to let the person go because it was against the ethics of the profession. So sometimes it doesn't bite you in the behind now. It comes up to catch up with you later in the future. So please do away with incorrect, false, or misleading information, no matter how many people do it. So this is a case of doing the right thing at all times, irrespective of who is doing the wrong thing. Now, including references, this takes up space. First, they would not contact a reference if they're not giving you the job. So at the point of interview, when they decided, oh, they're going to give you the job, they will reach out to you to say, give us your references, we want to get in touch. So if they're not going ahead, they would not. So it is better to do what? To just take out the references. And we have some people that will say, references available on requests. And the question I usually ask is, if you don't put that statement there, if I ask you for your reference as a recruiter, would you give me or not? You definitely give me, right? So do not bother including references or references available on request. References takes up space, and adding the references available on request is just unnecessary. Just take it out. Now, failure to tailor your CV, which we will talk about later on. People just, they spray and pray. They apply to 10 jobs with the same CV and they pray that one of them is the jackpot and they call them back. That is not how it works. We're going to talk about that later on. So now, CV length too. If I ask us on this call quickly, how many? What's the number of pages of our CV? Quickly, can we respond? Can we respond? What's the number of pages of our CV? Full lengthy CV. So if you are entry level, there's a number of pages that is required of you. If you're mid-level, you can have 2 pages. Even experienced professional have 2 to 3 pages, but not more than. Okay, I'm happy that I'm not getting anybody that is more than. So, oh, somebody, oh my, 4 pages. I didn't see the person that said 4 pages. 4 pages. No, this person must be joking. This person said 16 pages and counting. No, this person must be joking. Okay, so are you in the academic space? Let me be clear. If you're in the academic space, we can forgive that. But in the corporate world, it depends though. Well, that is why the depends is, I will allow the it depends on for what's it called now, for people in the academic space. But you're in the corporate space, you shouldn't have too many pages, 2 pages or 1.5. Okay, 2 to 3. All right. So fact is, I've worked on CVs of people with 15 years of experience, 10 years of experience, 20 years of experience, and I can trust you that it is not more than 3 pages. Right? It is not more than 3 pages. It means that what needs to be captured is captured on the CV. Remember that your CV is not to get you the job. The role of your CV is to get you into the interview room so you can sell yourself. So you give them enough key points to actually capture their interest in wanting to meet you. So when they meet you, all those things you want to really express in your CV, you will tell them in the interview and they will know that you're the best person for the job. So you need to focus on the key things that aligns with whatever your interest, whatever role you're applying for, right? Now, the last one here for under common mistakes is sending CVs as screenshots or even in Word documents. Or recently, I've seen somebody save the person edited their CV in Canva. They downloaded this as JPEG, then converted it to PDF. What does this do? This hinders your, what's it called? This particular person I'm talking about. If you have anybody in that similar situation, for instance, you link your LinkedIn URL to it and you want them to click on it just to get your LinkedIn profile. The minute you save in JPEG and convert it to PDF, it's not going to work. It's not going to be the same thing. So please, if you are asked to send your CV, no matter how urgent it is, don't send it in screenshots. Don't send it as a screenshot. I've seen cases of people placing it on the table and then taking a picture and then sending it. That's not your CV. You send the soft copy in PDF. Why are we saying you shouldn't send it in Word? Now, if you are using an outdated version, okay, let's say you're even using the latest version. You're using 2025 Microsoft Word, or you edited in Google Doc, and then you sent it to me that I'm using 2015 Word Doc, or I'm using Word documents and then you've edited in Google. What that does is it rubbishes your formatting. The poor formatting we talked about in the first place. Everything just, you've done your work, you're proud of yourself that you've formatted properly. At the end of the day, the formatting is off. But you don't know because you felt you've done a good job. But when you send your CV in PDF, it can never be changed. If only, I'll say this, if only the advert specifically states send in Word. If they do not state that, please always send your CV in PDF. Now, if we have any questions at this point, please, we can ask our questions before we go into the next section, which is essential sections in a CV. Do we have any questions at this point? Do we have any countering opinion at this point? We can share in the comments. Okay, I can't see any question coming up. If we have any questions, we can always drop it. Now, what are the sections a CV should have? What section should a CV have? Before we go into this, I promised I was going to review CVs of 10 people on this live call. So I'm going to, you all got my email, right? So we're going to do this. The first 5 people to send their CV to my email, they're going to get a CV review on this live call. So it means that you must be ready and willing to have me share your CV on this call. If you do not want me to share your CV on this call, please do not send it. But you want me to share your CV on this call and we critique it and give you feedback right here. Beautiful. Please go ahead and send your CV to my email. And then we'll decide on how to do the other 5 people. Now, essential sections a CV should have. The biodata form, the biodata section. Now, I'm saying biodata, but I do not mean that you should label it biodata. Your full name, Fatima Balogun, and if you are using a middle name, add the middle name. Your address. Now, do not put your full address out there. Why? Because of security reasons. We don't need to know the entire address. All we need to know is that you stay in Ikoyi, Lagos, Nigeria. Do you understand? And if you are applying for a role, that is why we talk about rules. When we talk about tailoring of CVs, I'll talk about my experience in tailoring my CV too. But your phone number, very essential. Always add your country code. It's important because if you're applying to an international company or international opportunity and they do not have your details, it will be very hard for them to reach you via phone in case you've missed their email. Your email address, very key, very important. Please do not forget to add that. Please, someone should mute themselves. Who is that? Cynthia, can you mute yourself, please? Okay. All right, thank you. All right. LinkedIn URL, very important that you had your LinkedIn URL to your CV. Why? Because people want to go and check your online profile. They want to check what your track record is like, what you've been talking about online, and if what you're saying on your CV also tallies with what is on your LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is more of a public CV, right? So they want to believe that if what you have on your CV is true, then you have replicated on your LinkedIn and also talk about it in different avenues, right? So always have your LinkedIn URL and then portfolio URL. This is for our tech guys or people in the space where you need to have a portfolio of maybe projects you've worked on. If you're in research work you've done, always add. So if you have a portfolio, if your industry or your career aligns with having a portfolio, always have your portfolio link on your CV too. Hyperlinked, very important. There's a reason why I'm stating URL. Have it hyperlinked so anybody can click on it and just get into where they need to. Just need to go. They'll just go in there and check for results they want to see. Now, then the next section, a CV should have the career profile, objective, or summary. There are 1,001 ways people write about their career profile, objective, and summary. That's why I gave you 3 different ways people call it. Some people call it career profile, some people call it objective or summary. Now, this is one of the major sections in this a CV should have. That is one of the things you are going to see. They will read about you. And the best way for you, well, let me not say the best way. So I'll say one of the ways you could craft your career profile is to look at 3 key information. 3 key information you want to look at when writing, because people ask, oh, I'm confused. How should I go about it? What should I do? I don't know how to go about writing my career objective. Pick these 3 things, and when you work on it, you get it right. Your years of work experience. So, and Fatima Balogun, No, okay, so sorry, we already said we're not writing in first person, right? So we're learning and development professional with over 8 years of experience. Then you talk about the industries I've worked in. And then I talk about the industries I've worked in with over 8 years of experience in the education, consulting, and development industries. Talk about my years of experience. I'll talk about in the industries I've worked in. Then the last part is the skills or the major achievements you have done that now relates to the role you're applying for. So I'm Fatima Balogun. I'm sorry, I keep saying I'm Fatima Balogun, but on CV, you know we're not to say that, right? So we're just going to be writing in third person. A learning and development professional with about 8 years of experience spanning the education, consulting, and development industries. I have developed about 1,000 youths in getting them ready getting them ready for the future of work through CV writing workshops, job readiness interviews, mock interview sessions, LinkedIn optimization, and I've gotten success results or feedback from trainees on this and that and that. So I've shown them my years of experience. I've shown them what industries I've worked on. And for instance, if I was applying for a role in the same development space I'm in right now, what I have said is how I will craft my career objective. And have at the back of your mind that your career objective should not be more than 4 to 5 lines. So when I mean more than 4 to 5 lines, a full margin, your margin should be complete from left to right, more than 4 to 5 lines. You cannot just keep it short and simple, sweet and simple. No matter how much you have a lot to say. Your cover letter is where you now say a lot of things. But in your CV, just keep it short and simple to the point. Sorry, excuse me. Okay. Now, your skills and your tools. I'm saying skills and tools, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you label that section skills and tools. I hope you understood the career objective example I gave. Now, your skills and your tools. Your skills, what skills align with, what skills do you have? What skills align with the work you are going into, or the role you are applying for, or the role you are switching into? So you need to be clear on that. Now, how do you do this? Even though we're still talking about it on tailoring your CV. If, for instance, you are trying to switch your career from a non-tech space to a tech field, and you've just done a bit of training on it, and that's no work experience. So how do you highlight your skills? Because you need to also focus on key skills, not just team player, organization skills, communication skills. Communication skills is good, but you need to focus on key skills that apply to you, not just generic, something that you have experience to talk about. So first, I would advise that you just highlight all the skills you have. First, you would have done a research on the skill set that is needed in the industry or the career path you are doing, and do what? And then highlight your own skills and then match it the right way. So for you, you might have highlighted or attention to detail in another language entirely. But then after your research, you realize that attention to detail is a very key skill they need in the tech space. It's something you just bring out. So your own might just be, you are very meticulous. Maybe you've written down, I am meticulous in your rough data. So this is not your CV, just in your rough sheets. You've written down under your skill that you are very meticulous. But under your, what's it called? Under your under the skills you have made research on, you are seeing attention to detail, and it tallies. So you do what? You own that skill. But never forget, highlight your skills. Don't just rely on, oh, I know myself, this is it. You need to do research. Do research on the field you're going to, in the space you're going into, the seniors in that space. Now, I'm not saying lie. I'm not saying go and copy and paste. I'm saying look at their skills and look at your skills and see what you can marry together, which one aligns with your own skill sets, and use that. And then tools here does not really apply to everybody, to be honest. Tools here might be for more technical people. You're in the data space, you're in the software space, you're in the game development space, you are in the research space. So you want to tell us the tools, even as a learning and development professional, there are also key tools that are specific to my industry. So you want to highlight the key tools that you are familiar with using, right? It will also help you, position you better, to help to understand that, to let them know that, yes, I know these things. These are the things I can use to carry out my work effectively. In our sample CV, we look at these things and how we'll highlight them. So work experience, yes. Yeah, we're going to spend a bit of time here. People mistake work experience here for job responsibilities. So they just come in and then say, I, as a front desk, I received guests. I served guests drink, coffee and tea. I made sure the environment was clean. I liaised with the cleaners to ensure. That is just listing your job, your duties. Anybody can do that. What we need to hear from you is the achievements. What did you do? The measurable or quantifiable achievements you achieved on that role. So now, we're saying quantifiable achievements and breaking it down for you to say it could be something like revenue. Did you make revenue? So if you're in marketing, you're in sales, did you increase revenue of the company? Did you save costs for the company? So you didn't increase revenue, but did you save costs for the company? You could have saved costs by reducing overhead cost of stationaries by 15%. That is something to boast about. That is something to be proud of. You brag about it and include it on your CV, right? Did you save time? Maybe you're in the medical space and then you save the time, you saved time, waiting time of patients from, you reduce waiting time of patients from 20 minutes to 5 minutes on the average daily. Put it there on your CV, own it, because those are the things we want to see. We know that as a learning and development professional, you're supposed to know how to do these things. But what are the key measurable things you did on that role that stand you out to say that this is a talent, this person is good? Reduction in errors. Did you reduce errors? If you're in finance, you're in accounting, did you reduce errors in any way? What did you do to reduce the to reduce errors in computation, in payroll computation, in vendor payments? That's what we want to hear. Was there a percentage increase in anything? Did you increase percentage in anything or reduce something, a particular percentage by something? So you need to look at your KPI. So in designing your work experience section, right, under each role, don't focus on your job description. Focus on the KPI. For every company, who is that? Please mute yourself. For every company that I want to believe every company, you have KPI, you have monthly performance reviews or quarterly performance reviews, and we have what we call KPIs. KPIs are what you are evaluated against, your key performance indicators. Your key performance indicators, look at them and see how you can craft them into quantifiable achievement. What did you do? What did you achieve under this particular KPI? You can have like 6 KPI in a month, depends on how you are structured. What are the things you achieved that are quantifiable? You were asked to reduce costs of maintenance by 20%. Did you achieve it? Did you do it by 21%? Go and put it on your CV. So that's why it's also good for you to document. So if your company does monthly performance reviews or quarterly, you have these things documented somewhere so that you can always translate it into your CV. Is it monthly performance you do? When you are doing your performance management, you're already thinking, oh, what did I do to make, what did I do to make me get a 5 or get a particular percentage in this? Go and put it down somewhere. Those are things you use in your CV, not just your job roles and responsibilities. Just by looking at your title, we can understand what you are doing in your role, but we don't just want you to list it. We want you to actually talk about it in quantifiable, measurable achievement. The key thing I want us to take away from here, quantifiable, measurable achievements. If it's not quantifiable, if it's not measurable, you are just listing your job roles and responsibilities, and we don't want that. Now, your education is also very important to list. Highlight your education, where you studied BSc, MSc, PhD, put it there. But you don't necessarily need to have your primary school and your secondary school education. Now, remember that we're saying that the CV has to be compact, it needs to be reduced to a certain number of pages. So if you have too much information on it, remember it's taking up more space. We don't need your primary education, we don't need your secondary education, because we know so now I'll put a caveat here. If the person is not done with our institution and the person is applying with secondary school information, that's fine. You can add it there. But you're done with secondary school and you're also done with your higher education. It's just leave out the primary and the secondary, because we know that you cannot jump primary school now to go into university. You have to have done JAMB and WAEC and whatnot. There are some criteria you need to achieve before you can go into university. So don't bother putting those in there. Now, professional qualifications. So for accountants, professional educations could be ICANN. For HR, it could be CIPM. For some cybersecurity people, they have their own, their own certification. I know Cisco does one. So those are the certifications you should have under professional qualification. I know Power BI too has their own, Microsoft has their own certification. So it's different from certificate of participation. So if you go for a training and you are issued a certificate of participation, just go under training and put it there. But you have a professional qualification that stands you out, that is required by your industry, that identifies you as a qualified professional to operate in that space, then have it under professional qualification. And if you do not have anything of sort, it's fine to take it out of that place. But training, you attend any training you attend, whether online, on site, that aligns with your job or the job you're applying for, add it there. Include that information, very important. Now, volunteering experience. Yeah, we have a lot of people who do not, what's the word now? Who do not put out the volunteering experience they've gone through because they believe it is too, I did it out of the goodness of my heart. I just did it for the church, or I just did it for the mosque, or I just did it for the kids in my area. It was not substantial. What it shows is that you are committed to something, at a project, a purpose greater than you. It shows that you're giving your time, your free time, you're giving your time to other things that are beyond you, that are beyond just your work. So please, no matter how big or how small the volunteering experience is, whether it's in the church, it's in the mosque, whatever area it is just giving back to feeding people, feeding the nation. You know, there's some people that do this, they join these volunteering drives in seasons, off seasons, Spa the Girl, the different volunteering this thing that people engage in, project that people engage in. Please add it to your CV. It gives you credibility. It shows that you've worked. So for instance, if you do not have any work experience at all, and then but you volunteered in 2 or 3 places, it shows that you're able to work with people, you're able to collaborate with others. They're able to pick that, okay, this person has done something with their time while waiting for that job they desire. Now, your interests, also include your interests, right? Some people call it hobbies, it's fine. Your interest, it does not necessarily have to be tailored to work. Please note, your interest does not necessarily have to be tailored to work. It can be cooking, it can be golfing, it can be tennis, whatever it is, put it there. And like one of my students asked, what if it is sleeping? Please don't include sleeping, no. You know, let it not put you at a disadvantage, right? And I like to say also that if you go and include cooking and they ask you, because some of these interests, right, they act as conversation starters in interviews where they're also able to ask, what are you interested in reading? I remember the last time I interviewed, I was asked, what was my interest? What do I do? My past time, I say I love reading self-help books. And that we discussed for nothing less than 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes on my interest for reading books. So the person had a different opinion. Oh, books are boring. He said, no, it's not boring. And I told the person about the last book I read and the things I took from it. Now, that's how we started the conversation. We did not even go straight into the proper interview. We did not go straight into asking questions. We started off on my interest, and I talked about the book I had read the last time and the key things I have put into it and how it has helped my life. So if you go and put cooking and they say, what's the food you know how to cook best? Indomie and egg. Well, I know there's someone too that used to say Indomie and egg is what he knows how to cook best. Oh, yeah. Oh, no. All right. At this point, do we have any questions before I move on? I've been talking a lot, so I want to hear from us. Do we have any questions? Any questions at all? We've talked about common mistakes people make in CVs. We've talked about essential sections in every CV should have. I want to believe that we might have 1 or 2 questions. Please drop it in the chat if you have any questions. Do we have anybody with questions? Anybody? Okay, if we do not have any questions, I will move on to the next slide. Is someone unmuting themselves to ask a question?
Hello, ma. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, my question is concerning the essential sections in the CV. Is concerning the interest. We don't. Is it a must we had our interest in the CV?
No, it's not a must. It's just something that shows what you do outside of work. So if you do not have one or you're not interested in putting it there, it's fine. Nobody owes you to it. But it just shows that you are more than what you bring to work. Because I bet you that in interviews, we have HRs, well, mostly HR professionals, they'll ask you questions. They just want to know who you are outside of work, how you relax, how you enjoy yourself, how you do you outside of work. So if you do not want to put it, it is not a deal breaker, but
Oh,
it's a good advantage. You can have it on the CV.
all right. Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome. Do you have any other questions? You can unmute
Hello.
yourself. I'll be happy to take questions. All right. Hello.
Oh, hello.
Hello. Please go
Hello.
ahead. Hello. I
Uh,
can hear
thank,
you.
thank you. Thank you for the lecture. Huh? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Please go ahead.
Okay. My question is, apart from LinkedIn, what of um, any other social media handle that you have can it also be included, like Facebook?
Okay, good. So I
Uh-huh.
know is that the only question you have?
I still have question on the first part.
Okay, so do you want me to answer this question and then you ask your second question?
Yes, you can answer this so that I'll ask.
All right, thank you. So I know I deal with a lot of, I'm in the tech space. So I deal with a lot of trainees in the tech space, and I see them put X, their Twitter account, and just like you said, Facebook account. The question I have for you is that does your other social media page contribute to your professional life? What are they going to find on your Facebook?
Okay.
So reason why LinkedIn is highlighted is because LinkedIn is the professional social media space, right? Where we know
Okay.
that you have
Okay.
everything professional. But for Facebook, Instagram, it might be more relaxed, where you connect with family and friends. So if you don't have a reasonable number of projects you want them to see there, if you've replicated it on your LinkedIn, there's no need to add your Facebook. I wouldn't even advise you add Facebook if it doesn't speak to your
Okay.
experience.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
Okay. All
So
right. Thank you.
please your second
Uh,
question.
and, and on the other questions, is there any specific font style? Maybe, for instance, Times New Roman. Is there any specific one for
Okay.
CV? And another
Okay.
one is, I just want you to also, maybe if you can talk more on this use of first person and using of glitches and
Of what
tailoring
glitches?
CV.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Okay.
tailoring
Okay.
CV. Then
Okay.
what is the proper email address? Is the combination of name also proper? You
Okay.
maybe name and the surname. Okay.
Okay. All right. All right. Beautiful. So okay. Let me just quickly rush through that. Run through that. So for the font style, yes, I
Okay.
mentioned Arial. Arial is fine. Calibri is fine. Sans serif is fine, depending on the platform you're using. So if you're using Google Doc, you probably see sans serif there. If you're using Microsoft, you see Arial, you see Calibri. I think you also see Calibri on Google Doc. You'll see Arial there. So it depends on your choice. But those three, any of those three, you can never go wrong with it. But just use one on your CV. So you don't have to use two different font styles on your CV. But don't use Times New Roman for your CV. Times New Roman on CVs outdated. I know that they use it in research space, the academic space, but for your CV, stay away from Times New Roman because it has edges and curves that ATS might not recognize. So just stick to Arial,
Okay.
Calibri. They're not, these fonts I mentioned, they're not stylish, they are not curly or anything. They're just straight to the point, no fluff, right?
Okay.
Inappropriate, the type of appropriate email address, your name combination is fine. For instance, when I had to, what's the word now? When I had to edit my redo my email address, I had my first name and last name was taken. So what I did was I had the hyphen of the first letter of my middle name. So I did Fatima dot the first letter of my middle name at gmail.com, right? So if your name is taken, if your full name is taken, you can do, I've seen a number of combinations. The first letter, you can do fbalogun at gmail.com. If you try all sort of combination and it doesn't work out, it's not bad to have one or two numbers just to, get you the right, what's it called? The right email address. I hope that answered that. That answers that. Yeah, so you also talk about cliches. So cliches, yeah, like can do attitude, team spirit, can work independently. Even though can work independently is fine, but shouldn't be overused. You are a team player. So these are things that are basic. So it's just like you telling me on your CV, for instance, I know some people here would have using the ability to use Microsoft Word on their CV. So I'm going to ask you, if you cannot use Microsoft Word, which is the basic, do you think anybody will want to hire you? So it goes without question that there's some skill set that you are supposed to have before coming into the workspace. Don't bother adding it because they are basic. They are basic things I expect you to know. Just like before you can go into secondary school, you must know your ABCs and you must know your 1, 2, 3s. If you don't know your ABCs and 1, 2, 3s as a primary 5, they won't let you go. They will tell the person to repeat because the person has not passed the minimum requirements. I hope you understand, you're clear on that. So when I mean, so in this place, can do attitude, team player, people put in their skill section, some people play around it in their experience section. That's why your work experience should be tailored to quantifiable achievements. Just highlight your quantifiable achievements and leave the fluff, leave all those lazy words, right? What was the last thing you asked? Have I answered all your questions? Tailoring your CV, don't worry. We'll talk about tailoring your CV. That's the next session we're going into.
Okay, use of
I hope
first
that
person.
answers your questions. Use of
Okay.
first person, beautiful. So use of first person. In your CV, first person means you are saying I. You're using I. First person, I am Fatima Balogun. I am a learning and development professional. Don't use that in your work experience section and even your work experience. So in your work experience, I could say, I train students in CV writing. No, don't write like that. You write trained students in CV writing. You start with an action word, qualifying what you have done, and then highlighting the achievements you have been able to do, right? So use of first person is just awkward when reading because you are writing it as I did this, but when the person is reading it to themselves, it's different. So when you write in third person without making reference to your name or your gender or your pronoun, you can never go wrong with that. So don't worry, in the sample CV I'm going to show you, you're going to see this, what writing in third person means in real life. So we'll still look at that too.
Okay, thank you very much.
Hope that has answered your questions. Okay.
Very well.
You're welcome.
Very well.
Okay, beautiful. So I know that we have a question in the chat. Let's read the one in the chat. Okay. Okay, so is it appropriate to put in view for courses or trainings you are currently on but not completed yet? So in reality, it is dicey, right? It depends on the quality of what's it called, of the training you want to, or your course you want to put on your CV. For instance, I know accountants, because accounting has about how many levels? Maybe 5 levels. I don't know much about their ICANN exams. So the different levels, some people might be in level 1, level 2. They will then put it is fine at that point to put it on your CV that, oh, it is in view. So it means that you're already working to get it. But if you've not started at all, please don't put it. So I also mentioned it depends on the quality of training experience you want to put on your CV. If it is just a basic training, finish it and add it. But if it is something that really defines your career, like a certification, and it has different levels, and you're already on a certain level, you just need to complete it, fine. It's good to add it. But adding it for just basic training, I would advise not. I hope that answered your questions. Okay, let's move on. If you have questions, you can keep it for later. I'll drop it in the chats. Okay. Tailoring your CV. Yes, so person asked about tailoring your CV, but yeah, we're talking about it now. Highlighting transferable skills. That's the first thing. You want to tailor your CV to a role, to a job. You are switching careers, you are switching job roles, whatever the case may be for you in particular. You need to highlight transferable skills. Some people are moving from education to tech and they're saying, no, I don't have any skills at all that relate. If you sit down with your skill set, like I mentioned earlier, highlight all your skill sets in raw format. You don't need to have the fine words. Just highlight what you know how to do. I know how to listen very well. I know how to do this very well. Just highlight it in a rough sheet. Then do your research on the industry you are going to, or the career you're looking to switch into, or the job you're applying for, and look through. So don't always focus, especially for a job ad, a job description, don't always focus on that's, what's the word now? The skills section in that JD. Look through, read through the JD and pick out the skills they are talking about in writing, not just highlighted in words. So you need to highlight the transferable, then decide which one aligns with your skill set and highlight it. Very key. So it means that if my default CV is saying that I know how to, I know about performance management, I know about recruitment, I know about editing. I'm just saying, so I'm using myself as an example. That's my default CV as an example. Right now, I want to apply for a role that is saying that they need someone that is that has facilitation skills, a trainer, you know, but I'm a trainer, I know how to facilitate, but these things are not clearly highlighted on my CV. I need to go and highlight it because they are asking for this skill set. I have it, but because my default CV, the initial CV I have, does not highlight it, doesn't mean I'll just submit it like that. So you need to tailor your CV to each role. Highlight your transferable skills. Highlight the skills that are aligned in the career you're switching into or the job you're moving into, right? Now, the next thing, highlighting your skills, your tools and achievements, that are relevant to the role. Initially, when we started, I mentioned spray and pray. You spray, you just apply you send one CV to 10 different jobs and you pray that one of them will call you back. That is not a strategy, that's a poor strategy. So you need to sit with your JD, with your CV, and then compare and contrast. Because in your JD, in your CV, you might have some experience that you feel, like I've said, there's some very mundane experience that I should not add. Experience like maybe, oh, you know how to type very well as a front desk person, you know how to type very well. Meanwhile, they are highlighting it on that JD that they want the front desk manager or officer or administrator to know this, to have this skill. What do? You have to put it there, even though to you, I know how to do this thing now, so why should I add it to the CV? But the job description is specifically asking for that. You need to put it. Now, I'm not saying leave what they have said and put it on your CV, but you need to include it. So you need to highlight, they said fast typing skills. You didn't add it because why would a front desk developer not have fast typing skills? You have to add it if that's what they're requesting for. I like the skills that aligns. Tools. I remember when I was trying to a few months back when I was trying to align someone's CV with the role they were applying for. I had to ask the person, they asked for expertise in a particular tool, right? In an editing tool. And she didn't have it on her CV. She didn't add it. We didn't talk about it in our explanation. This is a professional practice. Yes. I see someone asking, is this a professional practice? Very professional. So I had to get on a call with her and ask her, do you know how to use this particular tool? It was mentioned in your job description, in the job you want to apply for. And she said, yes, I know how to use it. She knows how to use it, but she did not mention it in her CV. So this person asking, is this a professional practice? I'm not saying lie. Remember, it is something that aligns with what you do, what you know how to do. But because you know your CV is supposed to be short and straight to the point, you did not highlight it because you felt, I know how to do this. This is not one of the key skills I want to highlight on my CV. So you need to look at what's the word now? Okay, so sorry, this person asking a different question. Don't worry, we'll come back. I thought it was to what I was saying. You were asking, is this professional practice? So highlight your skills. Highlight the tools that align with the role you are applying for. For instance, if you're a data person, you might know how to work with SQL, but you did not list it. Why? Because, oh, I know how to use Power BI, I know how to use R, I know how to use Python. What else? I don't need to add SQL. But one of the main skills they're asking for is that you must know how to use SQL. And you know how to use it, you have to add it. That is one thing with aligning skills and tools to your CV. And then achievements relevant to the role. So for each of my past experience, current and past experience, you will see more than 6, 5, 6, 4, sometimes 4 bullet points. So the older the experience, the shorter the bullet points. if it is my very first row, you will see more than 3 bullet points or 2 bullet points. Then the next one, more bullet points, but it keeps reducing as I go higher in my career. So because you're trying to keep the bullet point short and precise to the point, you miss out on some key things you should have highlighted. And this job description is telling you that I want you to have this skill, but you have it, but you have not highlighted it. It is better to swap a role, something that you feel, okay, this one is not necessarily, is important, but it's not as important as what they're asking for, because they are specifically asking for this experience. So you had it, right? That is what we mean by tailoring your CV. It might seem stressful because it means that you have to be intentional. It helps you to be intentional about the roles you're applying for. So you're not just applying. You look at the JD, you look through it. Okay, do I meet at least some certain percentage of? You don't have to meet all the criteria. You don't have to know everything. You don't have to know everything on the JD. You meet some certain criteria and you feel confident that you can do the role. Why not, if not, to push it and then make sure you align the achievement. So there's another style I want to also look at when we are highlighting, because we've said highlight quantifiable achievement, but how do we highlight it? We don't even know, right? So I want us to use this style. There's what we call the STAR method. It is used in interviews, but it can also be used on your CV. Now, STAR is STAR, situation, task, action, and results. So situation describes. So if you were in an interview, you'll be telling the story, you'll be describing. But for your CV, we don't necessarily need to focus on this S. It's just the TAR that matters, the task, the action, and the result. So in writing your quantifiable achievements, you tell us the task. Conducted a usability research. Task. Action. Using raw data from 3 different communities. To results, to understand the reason for malnourishment in their community. With 90% response rate from the community. Results. Task, action, results. You've told us what the task was. Using action words, remember. Then you've told us what action you took. You deployed the usability research for using this particular tool. And then the results you got 90% of respondents in that community to respond to the, and by the time you now get into the interview, they're asking you, how did you get 90%? That's a very high number. How did you get 90% of people to respond to your research tool? And you told them, oh, I went into the community, we cajoled them, we begged them, we enlightened them on the importance of this research we were carrying out. But you've highlighted task, action, responsibility. Go and write it down somewhere and you can read up on it later. Task, action, result. What task did you do? What action did you take? And what results? Including your numbers, your metrics, your percentages, add it there, right? Making sure you tailor it to your job description you're applying for. Now, you using keywords from the job description. Yeah, I'm very careful when I tell people to use keywords from job description, because it doesn't mean that you should not leave all the keywords in the job description and dump it in your CV. No, it means that if you see, for instance, you're saying something repeatedly, train, 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 train. It means that they want you, it needs to be in your CV, because we have what we call the applicant tracking system. Most international or multinational organizations, they use it, applicant tracking system. So when you apply, it is not, the first point of contact is not a human being. It's an applicant tracking system that goes through your CV. And what do they do? What does the applicant tracking system do? Sorry, excuse me. Based on preset keywords that humans have given it, it shortlists your CV for or against the role. So if they are giving it keywords like and they usually use keywords from the JD. If they're giving it keywords that people with this, at least any of these keywords, should be shortlisted to the next stage, and people without it should be declined or removed from the process, then the person has missed out. Don't use it indiscriminately. Don't just put, and make sure you do the right thing. If it aligns with your experience, if you have experience with it, use those keywords. If you don't have, better to be safe than sorry. But use the keywords if it applies to you, so that you would not be kicked out by the applicant tracking system. Right. Do we have any questions concerning this tailoring your CV before we move on? Okay, so someone said, let's go to the comments. We have questions in the comments. If a job listing specifies an age requirement, do I still exclude my date of birth from my CV? Yes, please. Still exclude it. If they want you to add it, they will add it. Exclude it. So now, for instance, if it is a bank you're applying to here in Nigeria, and we know that banks, some banks have, I don't know if all banks, but at least I know some banks, majority of banks have an age limit. So you must not be beyond, you must not be older than this particular age. If you know you fall within the age range, you are below that age range. It would be nice to add it because you know that if they feed it to the applicant, if you're applying through an applicant tracking system, they would have told the applicant tracking system that below this particular age, accept. Above this particular age, decline. But do we know what what command they've given the ATS for people that do not include age? We don't know. So if in some cases, that is why you need to look at your CV case by case. You need to look at what applies to you. In this case, this thing they're asking for, they've put out something that I don't usually put out on my CV. They've asked for a particular age. I am within that age range. Do I think if I put that age on my CV, it will help me better? Fine. Why not if not? So in tailoring your CV, I told you I was going to tell you about my experience. When I was applying for my role is based here in Ikorodu, Lagos. Now, my CV originally was Lagos, Nigeria. When I was applying for the role, what did I do? I went to change my address. I did not just put Ikorodu. I put the community I stay in, and then I put Ikorodu, Lagos. So by the time they are seeing it, they will know that this person is truly living in Ikorodu. So I do not usually put my location. I'll just put Lagos, Nigeria. But because the role required me to live in that locality that I already live in, what did I do? I went to put my best foot forward. So you need to apply, you need to look at things case by case. Not one size fits all. They are the best practice, and this is what we are giving you. But in the best practice, you need to now go down, drill down to what you're applying to, and then see if it applies to you, if you can tweak based on this. Do you understand? That is why we are human beings and we can think for ourselves. I hope that answered the person. So this person says, as a software developer, his email starts with devfullname@gmail.com. If that is what you want, my concern is so far, the major what's the feedback is so far your full name is there. Your name is there, can identify you and link it to your name. Why not, even not? So that's fine. Do we have any other questions? We can drop it in the chat. I hope some people have. Let me check my email. Has anybody sent me email? Beautiful. Okay, we have 4 CVs. So if we have 4 CVs, if we have, okay, no, we have more than 4. Okay, beautiful. Thank you. Don't worry, we have more than enough CVs to review. You can still send in your CV if you want feedback. Let's look at the sample CV. Yes, I hope it's not so tiny. I hope you can see it. I'm sure you can, what's it called? You can zoom into your screen on your end, right? So let me just try and also zoom here. See if you guys can see it. But if you can see, just give me a thumbs up to confirm you guys can see it. Apparently, I can't zoom. Please give me beautiful, beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Yes, you can reply to my email with the CV, or you can just send it to me. You have my email address. Just send it to my email address. That's fine. All right. So now, this sample CV is a 1-page CV. Omolara, please go ahead. Do you have a question? Okay. So this CV was designed for a fresh graduate with just 2 years of experience. So let me not say fresh graduate. So I'll say entry-level graduate, entry-level professional with 2 years of experience. So that's why it's a 1-pager. And if this person has like another experience in another company, it will still fit into this 1 page. Some things will just be reduced. Like this one has just for, but let's start from the beginning. So what I said first name, last name. Now let's think back to the essential sections the CV should have. Every of this section has it. Everything. It has all these sections we mentioned, aside the professional qualification, because this person does not have it. So this person's first name and last name in bold. Now, please, let's also take note. I know that we love to highlight some things a lot. If it is not important and necessary to highlight it, please don't bother highlighting. just leave it. So the key things that should be highlighted are your headers, your name and your headers. So your first name and last name is there. See, Lagos, Nigeria. If you want to put, if you're applying for a role in VI and they say proximity is preferred, and you are living in VI or you're living in Lekki or Ikoyi, by all means put your closest location that would put you make you put you in a better position to apply for the job. Ikoyi, Lagos, put it there. Your email address, your phone number, you can see the country code is applied, and then there's the appropriate spacing that is applied. So once you write your 234, you write 334. So it's not, you don't lump it together. These things, it just helps you with the ability too. Your LinkedIn URL, you can see that if you click on this URL now, even though it is not embedded with an actual link, it links you somewhere. Even this email address is hyperlinked. So the minute I click on this email address, it links me to I don't have to start typing your email address out. I just type it straight away, right? And then career profile. See, when we talking about your years of experience, the industry you've worked in, and the skill sets you have. An analytical and detail-oriented professional. Now, this CV is for a data analyst. An analytical and detail-oriented professional with over 2 years experience spanning the education and energy industries, with expertise in data cleaning, visualization, and reporting using Python, SQL, and Tableau. That first sentence I read, it aligns with the example I gave us on crafting our career profile. Years of experience, the industry, and then your expertise, your skill set, your competency, whatever you want to call it. But these things must be captured. Once you are done with that, you're good. So you don't have to copy anybody, you don't have to cram out to. Just follow, mention your years of experience. Now, if we have people who do not have years of experience, it is fine. You don't have to have years of experience there. So that means you're a fresh graduate. So you stay silent on that and talk about your competency, whatever skill set you embody now as a professional or as a fresh graduate or as a NYC core member, right? Now, because it's a one-pager, this is not how my CV looks like. Because we are trying to save space. So if we're in the category of 0 to 3 years experience, you are trying to keep your CV to one page, this is a very good profile to use. Mine is more than 1 page, so it doesn't follow this exact pattern, but it has this section. So your skill set, you can see this person says he has data visualization skills, critical thinking skills, which is very needed as an analyst, data interpretation and reporting, storytelling. A data person tells stories too. And then what tools are this person comfortable using? Person says Excel, Power BI, SQL, and Tableau. Now, if for instance this person was applying for a role that the person must be skilled in Python and R or MongoDB, you know that it's only Python that is here. Python is only listed under tools, it's listed under the career profile. This person has to go and do what that, and the person knows how to use Cabit. The person knows how to use R and the other one. Python is there, R and MongoDB. The person needs to add it. So maybe the person did not add it because these 4 are the top 4 tools he knows how to use very well. He or she knows how to use very well. So, but the minute they said R, and the person knows at least 50% of how to use R and how to use MongoDB, the person adds it because they've requested for it in that. Don't say, but I already have 4 out of 6. I will pass. If you have all the 6, go and list all the 6. So your work experience, this person's work experience, data analyst, can see the achievements and responsibilities. See, data analyst, the company name, Lagos, Nigeria, location, and then the duration. The person has started this job since June 2024 and is currently in the job. Achievements and responsibilities. Cleaned and processed over 10,000 rows of data. You can see the person is quoting numbers. Identified. The person is using qualifying words, action words to show that I know how to do this thing. So the person that was asking question on first person, while we are reading through the CV, you have not seen in anywhere where we said, I cleaned, I designed, I assisted. So the I is silent. The reference to self is silent. So that's what we mean by third person here. The reference to yourself is silent. You are silent on it. Whether you're a she, whether you're a he, whether you're a I, whether you're a we are silent. And yeah, they're not, you don't say anything like designed for they. There's not like they, we, them. Cleaned and processed over 10,000 rows. Design the dashboard that visualize key performance indicators for marketing campaigns. Assisted in collecting, cleaning, and organizing data sets for analysis. Now you can see that it's only the first two I put numbers and percentages. Not every of your of what you're going to highlight is going to have percentages, but at least the first 4 or the first 3 should have. So if you are not in a role that really deals with numbers, with percentages, then at least make sure the first 3 is talking about numbers. Then you can talk about the strategic ones you do that does not have numbers, but always quantify your experience. And then the second experience, you can say that because the person is now building a career in data analytics, the person is not focusing a lot on this initial experience. So the person just put 2 bullet points. Education, the person puts what the person graduated with, what school, what year. Training, the year, the course, and the course training provider. Volunteering experience, member, what company, dates, to what dates, duration, interest, networking, reading. Simple, short, straight to the point. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you. Please connect with me. You can send me an email if you have questions. My phone number is there for you to reach me, and you can also connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm always on LinkedIn, so I'll definitely respond to you. What you guys